What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics, and today we have a full album reaction to the album The Swing by INXS, brought to us by our patron, longtime friend and supporter of the channel, Alan. Thank you, Alan. Months and months ago, we did Kick by INXS for Alan. What a fantastic album that actually ended up on our RTTC community top 100 albums of all time that just released a few days ago. Check that link out once we are done with this. But before we get started, give it a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and if you'd like to be a patron like Alan and help support this channel, the patrons keep this thing running. We upload stuff every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 things a day. Who knows, but I'm talking every single day. It's crazy the volume that Trey and I put out. Check out that link below. Also check out our Facebook group and join us on our live streams on Twitch. You got to hit that follow button below every Wednesday afternoon and Friday night. I was surprised to see this album is actually not on Spotify, so I'll be pulling it off YouTube, so you're not going to have your Spotify bar down there to see where we're at or what the song is, but I'll put up the song before we start. Let's get into the quick facts of this. 4th studio album, released in April of 1984, #1 in Australia, and remained in the top 100 for over 2 years. It's insane. 6 in New Zealand, their first appearance there. And this one also went to number 52 in the US, 27 in Canada, top 20 in France, was listed in the book 100 Best Australian Albums at 56 with their 1987 album Kick that I mentioned a minute ago at 11. I'm actually surprised Kick wasn't even higher than that. Here's a little bit of the story of the album. In September 1983, they traveled to New York City to work with Nile Rodgers as their producer at his power station studio. It was the first time they had recorded outside Australia and provided the album's lead single, Original Sin. It's going to be the first song we get to. Rodgers asked Daryl Hall of Hall & Oates to guest on backing vocals for the chorus. Daryl later recalled, "I don't know why, because they're good singers. They didn't need me at all, but I did it anyway." And then they worked with Nick Launay, who had also worked with Midnight Oil and Models, at the Manor Studio in Oxfordshire to complete the rest of the album. In February 2014, this album returned to the top 50 in Australia with the local airing of a mini-series, INXS Never Tear Us Apart, on the 7 network. All tracks written by Andrew Ferris and Michael Hutchence, unless otherwise indicated. So let's start this off. I can't pop up the usual little Spotify bar, but we're going to start off with Original Sin. As I mentioned, it's the lead single. Went to #1 in Australia, 58 in the US. I already talked about Daryl Hall singing the backing on here. As always, I'm going to have the lyrics pulled up. You're not going to hear the music if you're over here on YouTube, but click the video below. There's a link down there if you want to listen along with me and see what you think of every song. If not, just hang out here. I'll be right back and tell you what I think of the song. Thanks again, Alan. Always appreciate you, brother. There you have it. Original Sin. First track from INXS. I can tell just knowing 80s music since I grew up then like I do. You can hear the Nile Rodgers influence on this song. Starts out verse 1, you might know of the Original Sin. You might know how to play with fire. But did you know of the murder committed in the name of love? Yeah, you thought, what a pity. Then, I could get into I'm a Christian of what he's talking about there, but I won't. Let's focus more on what he gets into in the chorus, because I think this is interesting. Dream on, white boy. Dream on, black girl. And in 1986, Michael said it was originally Dream on, white boy, Dream on, white girl. But then Michael said, why not make it black boy, white girl? I come from an interracial couple. Psychologically, that makes a bigger statement. It's a huge move in the 80s to do this. I mean, we still don't live in a tolerant world, but it was way less tolerant in the mid-80s. Daring to tell a white boy and black girl to play with fire and dream on the name of love. Got the song banned from some U.S. radio stations. That's crazy, man. I was 15 years old. They're still banning music out of there for something stupid like that? They're banning that? I don't know. Man alive. All right. There was a time I did not care, and there was a time when the facts did stare. There's a dream, and it's held by many. Well, I'm sure you had to see its open arms. And then he gets into that. Dream on, white boy. Dream on, black girl. And wake up to a brand new day to find your dreams have washed away. A very catchy song. Very well produced. Very tightly produced, very slickly produced. I enjoyed it. I don't know if it'll end up on my favorites. We'll just have to see what's going on. But it's still going through my head 2 minutes later. So that ought to tell you something. We're going to go to the second track. It's 3 minutes, 26 seconds long. Couldn't really find anything on this song as far as research-wise. So let's just kind of check it out. Melting in the Sun. There you have it. Melting in the Sun. This one, I'm surprised it wasn't called Great Expectations. I'm Melting in the Sun's the first line, and it appears one other time, but Great Expectations is up there, is in this song a ton. I'm Melting in the Sun, this is what they call the life. I suppose too much sun makes a desert Arab say, and I really love this country. There's a lot I want to see. Great expectations of all we seem to be in the winter, and the winter, the winter. And then, do you want to make a story up? There's enough, it always seems. If it happened in this morning, tonight we'll see it on TV. Great expectations. And it kind of goes on and on in that realm of things. I don't know that the lyrics make a ton of sense. I mean, I sort of get it. I think it's more about the instrumentation. It's 1984. We got those synths in here rocking, man. This definitely sounds of the time. Don't enjoy it as much as Original Sin. It was all right for me. I don't see it making my favorites, but not a bad song. Move on to song number 3, I Send a Message. Second single, went to 3 in Australia, 18 in New Zealand, 77 in the US at the 1984 Countdown Music Awards. It was nominated for Best Australian Single. I Send a Message. I Send a Message. A lot of nice instrumentation on there. Tim getting after it on the guitar, Andrew's keyboards. The drumming with John Ferris, I think, was nice. The last song almost sounded like a drum machine. I don't know if it was or not. It would have been of the time of 1984, but it might have been John on there. I definitely don't want to shortchange him. And then we got Kirk Pengilly, I imagine, on the sax on this song. He's also on Original Sin. So a lot of nice instrumentation in here. I definitely prefer this to Melting in the Sun. I might have preferred it to Original Sin. I don't know. I thought it was just a really nice song. I thought Michael sounded great. He was really into it. In the silence, I think of you. I send a message, and I hope it gets through. Think of the distance. Think of the miles. All the valleys. Could take a while. He's trying to send this message. He's away from her. I miss the people. I miss the fun. You're my apparition. She's my only one. An apparition is like a vision, like a ghost-like vision. You're not there. That's what you are to me. You're my only one. Even though you're not here, you're the one that's getting me through. And I imagine you standing here at Subliminal, so inspirational, man of the world for all the good reasons. Take away the pain and drink the wine. In the silence, I think of you. I send a message, hope it gets through. So he just kind of repeats that. I miss the people. I miss the fun. You're my apparition. She's my only one. So just a fun tune there. Really got after it instrumentally from the start, so I enjoyed that vibe. Now we're already up to song number 4, Dancing on the Jetty. It was their 4th single and top 40 in Australia. Dancing on the Jetty. Nice up-tempo. Obviously, it started out like the intro sounds like you're going to a dance, and then that infectious riff, upbeat, but the lyrics aren't necessarily upbeat. It repeats a ton, the verse, watch the world argue with itself. Who's going to teach me peace and happiness? We could sit here forever, just never get old, listen to the world. And then just kind of goes on. One of the verses, blood is upon the steps 2,000 years ago, pray like hell, then we go to fight another war in a holy land, shot the world, true story, snap decision in a moment's glory. We're going to watch them keeping it strong. So I don't really know what they were getting at here, but I mean, the watch the world argue with itself. Who's going to teach me peace and happiness? Maybe just the fact that the world was in disarray. No one could get along in 1984. And I'll tell you what, as I sit here in 2021, that is a worse problem, unfortunately. But infectious little beat there. Really enjoyed that one. Now we're going to go to the title track, The Swing. The title track, The Swing. I mentioned during the reaction, lots of echo on this, fantastic guitars. Great drumming at the start by John. This has what I would call, not that I'm an expert in INXS at all, but of the INXS stuff I know. This has the classic INXS sound. I think the swing is just maybe the swing of life. It's a swing. It swings like a pendulum. It marks the moments as the years go by on an innocent face, the swing into Neverland. And then that whole, there was a darkness like an old friend that scratched and crawled up the wall into my life, into my destiny, into my desire. And well, it's a swing between the kisses and between the lines. There is nothing to hide. So I think maybe just how life is going to continue going back and forth. Sometimes it's going to be great. Sometimes you're going to be in a COVID pandemic for a year, right? And so I think that's what the boys are getting at there. But no matter what they're getting at, a nice classic song. Really enjoyed that one. Now we're going to go to Johnson's Aeroplane. Johnson's Aeroplane. And in this song, I mentioned at the start, beautiful string arrangement. And then everybody is just coming in, man. The instrumentation is really nice. But Michael's vocals are more prominent in this. They take on heightened importance, I think, as the instrumentation is kind of dialed back during his vocal parts compared to a lot of the rest of the songs on here, and you get an idea of how truly talented he really is. I think Johnson owns this airplane. Now, whether he's the farmer too or not, or maybe he's either the pilot and owner of the plane, or he's the farmer taking a ride with the owner, but they're up in this plane and they're looking over everything. They can see the ocean, but 4 lines, one darker than the rest. Each one has a purpose, marking borders on the land. Farmer's pride, he works real hard from a small airplane. You can see the field. So they're taking in all that hard work, a place to work and grow, and that kind of comes in those choruses. 4 long years, one leaner than the rest. The animals are thin and the pastures dry. Farmer's pride, if the weather doesn't lie. From a small airplane, you can see the sea. So things aren't going that great. Johnson sees the fields from all the sides, steel machines and black tar roads, countryside where the spirit never dies. Things might not be going well, but farmers are very, very resilient people. In his face, all the history shows farmer's pride as the rains came down, heart-shaped hedges, Japanese gardens. A nice little tune there, very much showing off a different side of INXS in there. They still have the 1984 instrumentation, but it's dialed back some. Enjoyed that one. Now we're going to go to Love Is, in parentheses, What I Say. Well, if you're following along with me and listening to the song, help me out. What was that instrument making that do, do, do? It's very, very catchy. Much more diverse instrumentally than the last song, as far as much more of the INXS sound. A nice song, though, and I don't know. Love is what I say. Boys and girls, don't ever get with someone who tells you that love is what I say. But this is Food of Love. Dare say they got it wrong. Smiling, you and I thinking, never say die. What I say now, what I say now. I don't think we know each other enough to lie. Enough is enough anyway. These changes, lives alone. Drowning by the fire, like the irony there. Out of depth, he becomes a man without quality. And then just that what I say now. So I think mainly, I guess he's saying love is what you make of it, how you define it, not how others define it, that it's kind of up to you. But enjoyed that one. We only got 3 tracks left. Very quick album, only 10 tracks. Face the Change. Face the Change. Had a little harmonizing in here on some of the verses. Had Kirk coming in for a nice little saxophone instrumental right before the last verse, and then a 30-second intro or outro, instrumental outro, which you haven't had a lot of longer runs on the instrumental outros there. All these songs are about 3.5 minutes long, very tight album. I think the idea in this song, Face the Change, is that the one constant in life is what? The old cliche is true. It's change. Turns back to front, turns hate to love. The simplest things that mean a lot. Turns rock to sand, turns ice to snow. It's you and me about to grow, because change will make you grow one way or the other. Stare in shock at what you saw. Take a breath. Better lock the door. Tell your children what to do. Mistakes, and they still love you. I like that line, because the one constant in life, the one relationship you have in life that will never change is your children. Now, you may not get along, you may not talk, but they will always be your kids. Your spouse, unfortunately, may not always be your spouse, but your kids will always be your kids. So I thought that was a fantastic line and just a fun little song instrumentally. Michael had to get after a little quicker cadence than he has to do on some of the songs. We're already to the next to the last song, Burn For You, 3rd single released, went to number 3 in Australia. There you have it, Burn For You. I think there was one more verse that was going to come on, according to the Genius lyrics, but where I'm pulling this off YouTube, which has been fantastic so far, I think it cut that off, but anyway, we get the idea. It's weird because it has one of my favorite parts on the entire album when they come in with that chorus to sound so fantastic with those backing vocalists, Tilt My Hat at the Sun, and the shadows, they burn dark, light me and I'll burn for you, and the love song never stops. Sounds fantastic. What I don't like about it is this is 1984, and what we did, guys, in the 80s is when we started messing with those synthesizers. At the end of every line, sometimes when we wanted to punctuate it or accentuate what we said, you get that little bit of synth action going there. Din, 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 din. And then we go on. So it becomes distracting, but it was a of the time thing, right? In 1984, this is what you had to do. So no shade being thrown at INXS, but that part of the song was not good for me, but then I love the chorus. So I'm trying to decide, is this a favorite for me or not? Once again, with the lyrics, it's kind of a theme on this album, which I'll discuss after this last song. But the lyrics, there's not a lot to the lyrics. I mean, they have on any of these songs almost, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. But it's no pretending that I understand. The hide and seek, we play with facts. It changes our demand. I like the look in your eyes when you talk that certain way. I love the day in the life when you know that lover's way. Minding my own business when you came along. Temperature's been running hot. The fever was so strong. So passionate relationship, what you would think with the title Burn for You. And now we're already to the final song, All the Voices. Well, the final track on here, All the Voices, also the longest track, 6 minutes long. And I think maybe it had the most to say. There's not a ton of lyrics, but deep down in my heart, there's a lot of words. Tears fall down my face, but I hear the many voices that cry in pain. I want to tell you, don't give up. I want to tell you, don't give up. Hear the voices that surround you. All the people never doubt it. Then they go on. We won't take New Start. It is just too much to ask. What does it take? Because I hear a million people singing the same. I want to tell you, don't give up. And then the whole, hear the voices. All the people. And at the end, they just keep saying that over and over. Probably like a minute and a half. I didn't time it, but just to get in your head. I think they're talking about the fact that we can change things. There's all of these people saying they want change. Sometimes you just have the people at the top that try to keep you from getting that done. But unite. You can make a change. So I did definitely enjoy that one. Now we're going to get to my favorite tracks, which are actually going to be this one, All the Voices. I'm going to go with the first track, Original Sin. I'll go with Johnson's Aeroplane in there. But I enjoyed all of the songs on here. I think we reviewed Kick a while back, and Kick is a fantastic album. And it's 3 years later from when this is. And I think the biggest thing I see is the lyrical growth of INXS from this album to Kick. I enjoy this album. You could listen to this album, just put on the headphones, do whatever you got to do. You don't really need to look at the lyrics because the lyrics really don't say a lot. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Their instrumentation is spot on. It's great right here. But the lyricism really grows when we jump up to Kick, which Kick was in our RTTC top 100 albums of all time that our community recently voted on. So that's how good that album is. And Trey and I both loved that when we did it. This album is still really good. You can hear INXS. You can hear it in the instrumentation, especially. It's got that INXS sound. Michael sounds great. So really did enjoy this one. Alan, I really appreciate you bringing it. Overall score on first listen, I'm going to be at a 7.25. Enjoyable. Every track is good. Nothing you need to hit the skip button on. So once again, appreciate you joining me. And until next time, I will see you.